Heading into the 2023 season, the Green Bay Packers have a lot of doubt. A lot of the media portray the Packers to be one of the worst football teams in the NFL. And although myself, I do believe the Packers will be better than most people think, there is a high possibility they do not make the playoffs. And the main reason people are doubting the Green Bay Packers is the fact that a lot of this football team has a big question mark over it. We don't know how Jordan Love is going to play as a first-time starting quarterback of this Packers football team. The offense is also very young in the receiving room and tight end room, and then on the defense there is a big question mark in multiple position groups. So I'd understand why a lot of media believe the Packers in 2023 are going to be a bad football team, but in today's video I want to primarily jump forward a bit and talk about why the Packers are set up very well for 2024 and future years by diving into and breaking down their salary cap for the 2024 offseason and season. But first, let's talk about today's video sponsor, Manscaped. Cannonballs. This summer, it's not about the size of those cannonballs, it's about making a splash with our friends at Manscaped. Prep for your barbecue season by making sure your grill master has the hottest dogs the summer's ever seen. When you're at the cookout this summer, let your meat speak for itself with Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0. It's time to get ready, not sweaty, by heading to manscaped.com and using my code BASS20 to get 20% off as well as free shipping off your entire order. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to guarantee you'll have the most mouthwatering treats at the party. They have built the ultimate bundle for your summer grooming. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. Manscaped also has their new beard hedger on their website now, and honestly, this is my favorite beard trimmer I've used my entire adult life to keep myself looking trimmed up throughout the entire summer. The beard hedger has 20 different length settings, a titanium-coated T-blade, 60-minute runtime, it's waterproof and durable, and has a precision zoom wheel adjustment. So if you want your beard looking great this summer, head over to Manscaped and check out their Beard Hedger Pro Kit, which includes, of course, the beard hedger, beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard oil, beard balm, and a travel bag. I use at least one of these items every single day and definitely notice my beard looking a lot better. And for everything below the beard, Manscaped has their Performance Package 4.0, including their lawnmower, weed whacker, and they also threw in 2 free gifts, the Manscaped Boxers and Shed Travel Bag. So get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using my code BASS20. That's 20% off your entire order plus free shipping with the code BASS20. Manscaped, the perfect way to get your patties sizzling hot this summer. So firstly, this year to me is mainly a building year for the Green Bay Packers. Building chemistry with new players, young players getting snaps more ever than we've seen before, transitioning into a Jordan Love-led football team. There will be the highs and lows, there will be struggles and hardships, but there will also be moments where we see the actual potential of this football team and Jordan Love. I myself personally am very excited with the direction this football team is heading. Matt LaFleur is a very capable head coach, and I'm very interested to see how this offense runs and this football team as a whole sans an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. It seemed like when Aaron Rodgers was there, yes, he was following Matt LaFleur, but it was kind of always what Aaron Rodgers wanted to do. There was reports that Aaron would, shut down certain things during game plan during the week. And I believe under Jordan Love now, he will fully follow suit under what Matt LaFleur wants to run in this offense. And this team is still a very talented team and has a lot of new young talent. And as I said earlier, the Packers are set up very well in 2024 in regards to salary cap. All right, so now let's dive into what exactly I mean by the Packers being super set up for 2024 via the salary cap. So currently in 2023, this offseason, the Packers sit at number 13 in the NFL for current cap space at $14.2 million, which is pretty impressive considering the Green Bay Packers have over $57 million in dead cap for 2023. And I'll bring up the list here. That obviously includes Aaron Rodgers at over $40 million dead cap, Adrian Amos at just under $8 million, Dean Lowry, Jerron Reed, Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, Mason Crosby, Robert Tonyan, and Amari Rodgers, as we see they're totaling just over $57 million. So it's pretty crazy that the Packers are still at number 13 in total cap space for this offseason with all of that dead money. And that was one of the things that I was super impressed with the Aaron Rodgers trade, to get back the capital they got, but more importantly was dumping that Aaron Rodgers contract. At some point, it was going to bite the Green Bay Packers, and they chose to take that hit right now in 2023 during this transition building year, which I believe is a perfect execution of getting rid of that contract. No matter what, you had to pay that money, so it's just based off of when you wanted to pay it, and the Packers are going to pay it this season. They're going to pay over $40 million against the cap for Aaron Rodgers when he's playing for the New York Jets. So all of this dead cap, and you can see all the other players on here, and that's because of all the void years they added in years past, basically kicking the can down the road. You're never getting rid of that money. You're simply saying you'll pay it later. And the Packers are deciding to pay it mainly this year with a lot of these players. So that's why I see 2023 as more of a bridge year for this Packers football team, finally eating most of those bad contracts and building for the future. Now, that doesn't mean I don't believe in this 2023 team. I do believe they have a lot of talent, and I do think they'll be better than most people think. But like I said earlier, there is a very good chance they don't make the playoffs. And like I said, this year is going to be more so building that chemistry, building that rapport with Jordan Love and these young wide receivers, and building up that young defense. So now that we see what 2023 is in regards to the Green Bay Packers salary cap, let's dive into 2024 and what this will look like, a very early view on the Green Bay Packers salary cap, free agency, and all of that for 2024. So let's bring up the screen and dive into this 2024 offseason. So as we see at the top here, as of right now, which a lot of things are going to change, and I'll get into that. But as of right now, the Green Bay Packers in 2024 are set to have just over $20 million in cap space. And you might be sitting here going, well, that's not that much. How are they set up so great in 2024? So first, we want to go into their current contracts for 2024. And there's a couple things that are 100% going to happen. And I believe David Bakhtiari's contract changing is one of them. As we see here at the top, David Bakhtiari will be a 33-year-old player, and he will be the highest paid player by far on the Green Bay Packers with a cap hit of over $40.5 million. The reason it's that high is the Packers restructuring his contract twice over the last 2 years, pushing that money out, and it's finally here. This cap hit of $40.5 million would take 15.9% of the Packers' total cap space. And Bakhtiari isn't even a quarterback. So if you have a quarterback with this cap hit, you're like, okay, it's the most important position on the football team. And I'm not saying left tackle isn't important, but I am almost certain that this cap number will not stay the same. And the really only way to change this would be to extend David Bakhtiari, cut him, or trade him. In my belief, I think David Bakhtiari is going to be moved on from in 2024. We've seen him come on podcasts, kind of talk like he's not on the team, and I do believe he'll still be here for 2023, and he'll play out this season, and he'll be a good teammate, and he'll do a good job protecting Jordan Love, but I feel like he's kind of 1 foot out the door at this point, and with a cap number like this, I think it's a very easy thing to decide on. If they cut David Bakhtiari, they would save $21.5 million on their salary cap. They would incur $19 million dead, which is a hit you're probably willing to take considering this massive cap number. So if we simply just cut David Bakhtiari, or trade if there was a team that wanted to trade for that contract, which I highly doubt. So if they simply were to cut David Bakhtiari, we see the 2024 cap number now jump all the way up to $42 million. And that's just making one move. So in my eyes, this is more of a representation of the Green Bay Packers salary cap for 2024. It's after the David Bakhtiari move, not before, because like I said, I'm almost 100% certain something is happening with that contract. It is not sitting at $40 million, that's for sure. Then going down the list, you see two other players that have an above $20 million cap hit. You have $27 million with Kenny Clark, and you have $24 million with Jair Alexander. Now, they could very well just keep these contracts as is and not play that game of kicking the can down the road. In restructuring Kenny Clark, they could save up to $11 million. Restructuring Jair Alexander, they could save over $10 million. So yeah, the Packers could clear another $21 million by doing that, but they're just doing the same thing that we just had to fix with David Bakhtiari, kicking money down the road and having massive cap hits for 2025, 2026, and furthermore. And since the Packers are finally trying to fix that mess they made during the Aaron Rodgers tenure with all of these restructures, I highly doubt they do it as much as they did in years past. I do believe it'll happen with a couple contracts, which I'll get into here in a second, but I highly doubt they keep doing it as much as they did because they're finally starting to become better on the financial side because they're also not dealing with an Aaron Rodgers $50 million contract. The one player I could see this happening on is Aaron Jones. We see his cap hit for 2024 is $17.1 million. a lot higher than this year's $8.1 million we see here. Now, a $17 million cap hit is crazy high for a running back, and it's also the last year of Aaron Jones, and he'll be turning 30 years old. So they're kind of in a tough situation here because they already added these void years, the $6.6 million that he'll count against the cap in 2025 regardless, with them either trading or cutting him in 2024 or letting him run out his contract and then becoming a free agent in 2025. The Packers are still going to owe that amount. So there's a couple options here for Aaron Jones. They could simply outright cut him. I don't see this happening because they're going to incur $12 million in debt. They would save $4.8 million. But another thing they could do is simply restructure and push more of this money out, because they do have a lot of money in 2025, as we see here, but there's a lot of players that aren't under contract, so that's why there's so much money. But if they were to restructure a deal, I feel like it's going to be Aaron Jones. So if we go ahead and restructure that, we see his cap hit drop to $9.6 million. And now the Packers are just under $50 million in cap space for 2024. Going down the rest of the list, some of the highest paid Packers for 2024, we have Elton Jenkins at 14.5. I think that's a bargain. That stays like that. A bit high here with Preston Smith. When they just gave him that extension, he has a $16.5 million cap hit, and he's signed through 2026. So they could restructure that out a bit and push it out to the years he's still on the football team. But then he'd have even higher cap hits the next 2 years. So I'm not sure if they're going to touch anything with Preston Smith's deal there. Devondre Campbell at $14 million, Rasul Douglas at $11. Rasul Douglas could be a veteran cut candidate in 2024, becoming 30 years old and have an $11 million cap hit. They could save $6.5 million by simply cutting him. Then we see here Packers quarterback Jordan Love, and this is the reason why the Packers have so much money set up for 2024, is Jordan Love's cap hit is going to be $7.7 million. And that's because they gave him an extension rather than signing that fifth-year rookie option, which would have had him at over $19 million. So they did a good job on that. So he's still going to be very affordable in 2024. Now, he does have a void year in 2025 that the Packers are going to be paying $5.2 million on. But if Jordan Love turns into what you expect him, you're going to hit an extension with him anyways, and all of that will be reworked and put into probably a 5-year contract. But this still gives you the chance to put together a very good team in 2024 because your quarterback is so cheap. When your quarterback is this cheap, you can surround him with a ton of talent. It's when your quarterback starts costing you $40 to $50 million per year where it gets very tricky to surround your team with more talent than just that guy. So simply with just 2 moves, cutting David Bakhtiari and restructuring Aaron Jones' contract, the Packers are at, we'll say, $50 million in cap space. Now, there are guys that they're going to have to re-sign, as we see here on the right, Jon Runyan Jr. being one of them. Yosh Nijman another. If the Packers cut David Bakhtiari, they are definitely going to want to bring back Yosh Nijman, as he will likely take over as that starting left tackle, him or Zach Tom. If Zach Tom takes over for starting left tackle, then there's a hole at right tackle for Yosh Nijman to fill. So no matter what, if David Bakhtiari is off this team in 2024, they're going to want to bring back Yosh Nijman, and I think he'll be pretty affordable. I don't think he'll cost nearly as much as like a top caliber left tackle in the NFL. It also depends how he does this year and how much starting time he gets. But the Packers are going to want to prioritize bringing back Yosh Nijman, this so they can kind of just let go of David Bakhtiari and move on with the future without having that $40 million cap hit. Jon Runyan Jr. as well. Since you're getting rid of one of your linemen, you're going to want to keep one of your better interior guys here with Jon Runyan Jr. And then, of course, there's Rashawn Gary here. I think the Packers should strike a deal with Rashawn Gary this season. I don't think they should wait until next offseason. I think they should strike one right now when he's still recovering from his ACL. They can probably strike a pretty affordable deal with Rashawn Gary and get a good bargain, just like they did with Elton Jenkins last year. And some other free agents that are also important. We have A.J. Dillon here. They're going to want to re-sign him depending on what they're going to do with Aaron Jones. Now, I don't think A.J. Dillon will be expensive, so I say the Packers re-sign him anyways. And then we also have Rudy Ford here, who will be coming 30 years old, and we'll see how he plays this season, slated to be one of the starting safeties. So if he does very well, the Packers are obviously going to retain him, and if he doesn't do well or gets hurt or gets replaced by someone else, no biggie. But the free agents aren't that bad. The biggest one obviously being Rashawn Gary, and the Packers will strike a long-term extension with him. And yes, that will lower the cap space for 2024. All 3 of these will, but a lot of contracts are mainly backloaded anyway, so they're not going to have a $20 million cap hit their first season. So with resigning Jon Runyan, Yosh Nijman, and Rashawn Gary, the 3 main guys there, the Packers should still have over $32 million plus for 2024. Now, that is just the salary cap aspect of the 2024 season. The Packers are also set up to have a lot of draft capital due to that Aaron Rodgers trade. Firstly, the Packers lost 4 qualifying free agents that could result in compensatory draft pick selections. Now, the fourth one being Robert Tonyan at a low APY of only $2.65 million, likely won't get factored into compensatory, but Allen Lazard, Jerron Reed, and Dean Lowry all should. Allen Lazard probably netting us a 5th round comp pick, and Dean Lowry and Jerron Reed netting us most likely 2/6. So if all 3 of those comp picks happen as we just stated there, the Packers are set to have a ton of draft capital in 2024. Firstly, 2 first-round draft selections if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of snaps for the New York Jets. That obviously will turn into a first rounder. That second rounder will turn into a first rounder. And I fully expect this to happen. Unless Aaron Rodgers goes down with a very significant injury, he's going to play 65% of snaps. So I'm very confident the Packers will have 2 first-round draft selections next year, which is awesome. They'll have 1 second-round pick, a third-round pick, a fourth-round pick, 2 fifth rounds, 3 sixth rounds, and 1 seventh round. That totals 11 total draft picks, including 2 first rounders for 2024, as well as all that salary cap we talked about earlier. So that's kind of what I mean by I believe 2023 sort of is a bridge year. Like I said, I'm still very excited for this season, the building aspect of this football team, building chemistry, finally seeing what Jordan Love has to offer as a starting quarterback of this football team. A lot of young talent on this team is going to be getting snaps. This wide receiver room is extremely young. We're going to see year 2 of Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, a ton of rookies on offense like Jaden Reed, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, very young in that tight end and wide receiver room, and as well as the defensive side. They have a lot of talent on that defense. Will Joe Barry be able to start to utilize that talent and put players in the positions they're supposed to be? This could also be a bridge year. If the defense isn't good again, then the Packers should finally move on from Joe Barry and maybe sign a very nice defensive coordinator for that 2024 season, where they're going to be able to load up on talent in the draft and free agency with the capital and money that they have. Honestly, I think Brian Gutekunst has done an excellent job at setting up this team for the future with all the obstacles he had to overcome. Obviously, with the Aaron Rodgers drama and year in, year out, you know, the rumors of him wanting to be traded, him not meshing with Brian Gutekunst and all of that, he got over that pretty quickly and transition this team into this new future very, very seamlessly. And I think that's very impressive, especially with that contract that was just signed a year before this. So honestly, I'm super impressed with that. And yeah, they're eating $40 million in dead cap this year, but I like that they're doing that rather than trying to spread that out over 2 years and it affecting both years. They're mainly saying, hey, we got the money to pay it right now. Let's get it over with and look towards the future where Aaron Rodgers' contract will be completely off the books in 2024. And the only thing related to Aaron Rodgers in 2024 for the Green Bay Packers will likely be a first-round draft selection where the Packers will have 2 where they could package that up to maybe go up and grab someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. And even if Jordan Love comes out in 2023 and is a complete bust, that likely means the Packers will have a top 10 draft pick of their own, plus another first round from the Jets where they could package both of those up and move up to grab someone like Caleb Williams. So the Packers, regardless, I think are really set up for 2024 and the future. But I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you agree with me that the Packers are really set up for 2024 and this is more of a bridge year to build chemistry, build rapport with this entire new football team? Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts. But that about does it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate it if you went down and clicked the like button. It shows support to my channel, helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you are a new viewer here, I post Packers content all the time, and with training camp on the way, I'd highly suggest going down, clicking subscribe, and turning on post notifications because there'll be a ton of content for training camp highlights, recaps, and news, and all of that. But that about does it for this one. Catch you on the next one, and as always, go Packers.